Good morning. Welcome to the second lesson of the medical terminology course. I hope you have got a gist of how the textbook works, how you're supposed to study, and started to dive into the memorization of all these terms. Remember that the first few chapters are the most intensive. You have a lot of prefixes and suffixes to memorize. It will become lighter in a few chapters. Today I want, with this first video, go over what you are going to learn in lesson 2, and then give you another video in which I want to go over combination of words and how you use combining vowels and combining forms, because I noticed some problems in the homework that require, that tell me that I need to give you to make some clarification to help you out, okay? But first let me introduce lesson 2, which is structured absolutely as lesson 1. So you have a list of prefixes, a list of prefixes to study in chapters that start in chapter 17. Page 17. In page 18 you have other suffixes, and then a long list of vocabulary as on page 19. As usual, you can look at the Greek word, but then what you have to memorize is the second column, the combining form with its meaning. And then an example to remind you of the meaning, if in the example you have a word that you already know. If not, try to think of a word that you already know from your life experience that may help you with that meaning. Okay? On pages 20 and 21, you have the etymological notes that I suggest you to read very carefully, because they go in depth of some of prefixes and suffixes that change meaning depending on the word to which they are attached. And in this chapter you have the analysis of the suffix oma, which is very important, the term cyst, the term onkos that gives oncology, the study of tumors and cancer. So very important pages, and you will see that you will need to have read and understood these pages as well to do the homework. Okay, and then the three different kind of exercises that are absolutely the same as chapter 1. The structure of the exercise is always the same. Now, what this chapter focuses on is Greek word of the third declension. What does that mean? Greek is an inflective language, like Latin, which means that the words change form depending on the meaning, depending on the value that they have in the sentence, of the grammatical value they have in the sentence. For example, syntactical vowel, so syntactical value they have in the sentence. So for example, they work basically like the English pronoun he, him, or she, her. Okay, but he, him gives us a better idea. You cannot say him went to school, right? Because him can only work as an object and not as a subject of a sentence. Okay, the subject form is he, so the pronoun changes its ending. You maintain H, but instead of having an E, you have an I am when you use it as object, either direct or indirect object. So you say, okay, I see him, or I give this to him, okay, with the preposition, but you need to say he went to school when it is the subject of the sentence. The same, what happens in English with only a few words, especially pronouns, happens for every single noun in Latin and Greek. And depending on how they change their forms, they are divided in declensions, which can be, which are several. Okay, in the first lesson you have seen words of the first and second declension. So English terms are formed by Greek words of the first and second declension, which end in e or a for the first declension, or os or on for the second declension. And so like psyche, okay, for mind, and nephros for kidney. In these cases, okay, for words of the first and second declension, you cut the ending of the nominative to form the combining form that will create the scientific terms, okay? So psych, nephr, okay, from which you created the words. In lesson 2, instead, we are looking at words, at many words of the third declension, which is characterized by the fact that very often the form that the word has in the nominative, meaning in the subject, when the noun works as a subject, is different from when it works as a direct object or indirect object. Okay, so the word has two roots. Two forms, okay, and you can find both of them in the formation of the Greek nouns. So, for example, the word skin in Greek is derma when it's nominative, dermatos in the genitive, in which os is the genitive form and dermat is the stem, okay? Or hepar, liver, hepar in the nominative, hepatos in the genitive, so hepat is the root of the word. Gaster, gastros, same thing, okay, in the genitive it loses the e, okay, so gastr, you have formations also from gastr. So you can have formation from both. So for example, let's take the word skin, okay? You can have the word derma, let's say dermalgia, okay? So let me write it. Dermalgia, which you have studied algia, meaning pain, in lesson 1, okay? So pain of the skin, that comes from derma, from the nominative. But you have dermatology, the study of any condition of the skin, dermatology, study of skin and of its condition, that is formed from the form dermat, okay? Same thing from hepar and hepatos, okay, from the liver. You have heparin, okay, but you have also hepatology, okay, heparin or hepatology, same thing for gaster, gastros, etc. Okay, so this is basically what lesson 2 is about. I'll close this video and I will go over formations and combining vowel, combining forms, with comments based on my review of your homework from lesson 1. Okay?